that we already approved that, right? So now we're into the financial reports. Joan?
We had a question given by John.
You have a question?
I had asked, Herb, I had asked Brian if the telephone number showing on the invoice from Spectrum was our number for the station. Look down there, swing that there. Come on down there.
Yes, that is,
That's the page. See that? Is it?
Okay,
that's your telephone number.
458.
That is our. Okay, thank you. Now, is installation complete?
Yes, but there's no phone plugged into the modem. So right now it wouldn't ring if you dialed that number.
All right. Who's got to get the phone? We do. We got to buy a phone and put it in.
Yeah, buy a simple phone with a long cord so you can reach it, and we'll get it installed.
Okay, I got that. Who's going to get the phone?
I'll have Eric
It's a
get a phone.
telephone.
Yeah.
That would be great. And if you will, make sure that Eric gets one with a speaker phone on it. Or
Okay.
I'm lost in the woods.
Yep.
Thank you. I have no other questions on the invoice.
Okay, so we're back to the financial report.
I'm wondering, I have a question on Spectrum. Is there an internet password? Can we know that?
To get into the account?
Yeah.
Sure. I will.
You want to send that?
I'll send it out to you
Okay.
rather than say it over the wave. Yep.
What did she ask?
She wanted to know if there was a online account for Spectrum, and if so, what was the password?
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna send it out to the board so everyone knows how to log in if they need to.
Okay.
That's great.
Great. Okay. One more time. Are we ready to do the financial report?
Go with it.
Well, hopefully Joan or the chief
Oh, okay.
has got this thing.
Okay, we approved the invoices, right? Did we?
A little louder, Joan.
We need to approve the
A
invoices.
whole lot louder.
We need to approve the invoices to pay, bills to pay.
Can't hear you.
That's the way.
We need to approve the invoices to pay.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the invoices for accounts payable that have been presented.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded. We pay the bills.
Boy, we spent money this month.
Okay, so it's time for the voting. Pam,
Yes.
Joan,
Hey,
John,
Aye.
Skip,
aye.
anybody here? I
Said
couldn't.
I.
Okay, and I say aye. So passes unanimously by the board members. That's the accounts payable portion. The financial report for September, it must be more recent than that.
Is that wrong?
What?
Shouldn't September be January?
Yes, Brian, it's just you need to adjust your agenda because it says financial report for September.
Hey, this is not working. Can we take a time out and get Joan so we can hear her?
Just have to get.
I like that comment.
Okay, I'm telling Brian that the chief, the agenda says financial report for September, which is an old month. We
Right.
need to, we could just say a financial report.
Yep.
We don't need to be specific about that. Always a prior month.
But the current report is in front of you on the screen.
Right.
Okay. And Joan, you are aware that we cannot hear or understand you, correct?
You want to just take your mask off? I don't mind. I've been shot.
Oh. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yes,
A little better.
Why did
So fast, Joan.
I'm speaking directly into the mic? Can you hear that?
Good. That's good. I could hear you.
Okay. Financial report. Okay, everything looks good.
All right.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, Joan, in the revenues, we have nothing that has come in on the signpost program. And I guess that's the way it's going, huh? We haven't installed anything yet, have we?
I think when you go back to the way we approved it this time, we did not approve that our clientele, our clients would be paying
Okay.
into the address program. So I don't think it has actually gotten started yet because you're waiting for the addresses, and then they want better weather. They want better weather before they approve it.
Okay, I understand that. Thank you. And the other question,
Okay, but we won't get anything into it unless somebody decides they want to pay into it,
okay.
voluntary.
And the next question is, it looks like tax receipts are equal to budget, going well. Is that your sense?
The budget is for the whole year. So our current tax receipts are almost up to our budget. The amount we budget, 158,000, and the budget is
So we're,
$159,000. So current year tax receipts are up there. Now we'll still get dribs and drabs coming in, you know, a couple $1,000 a month maybe through the end of the year. But we're there.
I see. So your conclusion is that we're not way behind on taxes and it's going well, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, Joe. I have no further questions.
Okay, I would entertain a motion that we approve the financial report.
so move.
Second motion. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Joan,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye,
Skip,
Aye.
Thank you, Skip. Way to go.
are you
You want my
voting, Joan?
vote? Want my vote? Aye.
And aye, so it passes unanimously. This is, just for the record, an extremely unsatisfactory way of doing business, and we've got to do better next time. And I'm not sure what better would look like, but our inability to hear and have reasonable discussion is not facilitated by this Zoom process. All right, get off my high horse. We're ready to move on to recognition and public comment. Hadi, you are our guest. If you have anything to address the board, now would be your opportunity.
No, I'm actually here just to learn a lesson. I'm a new counselor, so I want to make sure what's going on within our district and what's happening here in Oakland. So that's basically what I'm doing, and I appreciate you for letting me.
Nice to meet you, Andy.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Andy.
Okay, moving on to, there is no correspondence, old business. We're ready to move on to the resident address list update. Is that something either Eric or Scott was handling? Does anybody know what's going on there?
Well, that's in the action item list, Herb, but the address list update is, I thought Joan gave us an email that she received a complete listing of all the addresses in the Hazeldale district. Is that correct, Joan?
I don't think I sent it out yet. I'm just gonna send it. I'm just gonna send it to you, and does all the board want to see it too?
How big is the document?
Pretty big. And then there's a mapping thing too. I didn't send it out because I wanted to really get a
Yeah.
better handle on it. But
You can just send it to me if you want. We'll try to,
I'll send it
together,
to
we'll,
you
and Eric.
and Eric.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be good. And I understand, Brian, you're gonna lean on LCOG to make a map or to update their map. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Joan says there's some sort of mapping in there, so we'll see what it is. And if we need to ask LCOG for a quote on what it would take to map all the residences, we will. An alternative is that if you remember Rick Zilstra, he's got quite a talent for the maps, so he might be able to do it much less expensively than LCOG.
Oh, that's right. You gotta pay LCOG. I forgot that. Okay.
Oh my God, I
Yep.
haven't even looked at the maps, but they sent me something.
All right.
They sent a separate file with the map. So I'll forward that to you.
Speaking of the, it's a file that, yeah, so that file will actually map it for you on Google Earth. So I think we're good there as far as mapping the addresses.
That's great. We're gonna finally get an accurate count of how many residences that we're protecting up there, and not only High Prairie, but also Leduc and other places.
Okay,
Okay.
the second item under old business is reviewing of the action items. And John, you are the steward of this. You want to walk us through this?
The steward shall conduct the review. Okay, here we go. If you look at your action item list, and I'm going to hit each one of them quickly so that we don't lose sight of them. The renew IGA, I think that's on the agenda, so we'll wait until that's presented for the agenda to cover that one. Item number 2 is the audit of finances, and we do have the audit report, and we'll hear from Joan about that one. Item number 3 is on hold. Item number 5, Herb, I went out there at night, and it looks like it's covered all right. But did you go? What's your opinion?
Right, I thought we agreed last time that
It's
that we had
okay.
met that objective and we're going to drop it.
All right, then we can close that one.
Okay.
Item number 7. Now that's one that we haven't done anything with, and the thing about that one was it was put in there to have drivers for our trucks in the event you needed them and you were busy on a fire and you couldn't send anybody to drive it, and you use a Hazeldale person.
For 7.
And it's kind of sitting there, and I was going to do the recruiting by contacts that I know there and see if anybody wants to do that. But I really feel constrained about the whole situation on that item because there is no time, as I understand it, from Scott and other people. You're very busy on COVID and other things. So, Brian, what's your wisdom on that? Right, you want another thought I was going to suggest today is that we hire somebody to train driving those trucks, and we could get people employed to do it. You'd have to go through contracts and stuff like that. A school for driving heavy equipment. So I just float that out there. What's your thought, Brian?
So I think they would be best off to go through the fire department down here's class for drivers. And yes, it has been delayed by the COVID effort, and there's been very little face-to-face training going on within the department. But I think we're coming out the other end of it, and I believe that we'll have some action on this as we get closer to summer.
Good.
We get more vaccinations. So I would recommend staying the course on that one and plan to use the Oak Ridge Fire Department training course.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Brian. Item number 8. Joan, you know what? I found our policy and practices manual and all the stuff I've saved, and I'll be getting that to you. It has all these duties described. It's a SDAO document that we amplified many years ago. So I hope to turn that over to you, so you'll have it, and we'll go from there when you see that. Any comment, Joan?
Okay,
And I would say that's developed content because there's a lot of information in those practices and policies. And SDAO put out a complete manual on that. The board at the time reviewed it and updated it to Hazeldale. And it's a good document, so I'll be sure to get that to you. We'll have another meeting at the church until we can make that arrangement.
okay.
Item number 9. I'm gonna stop on that. I haven't done any more, but I've got all the data I need to develop a policy, and I'm gonna look at that manual that I told Joan about and see if there's anything in that one. Item number 10. That's on a hold right now, and nobody looks like the people who are working for ODF are in status quo. So the project's on the hold. But sooner or later, we're going to have to decide if we want to expand the station and put in what we've developed so far, the smaller footprint, or something big enough that can serve as a meeting place. And actually, we don't need that because we could anything that big, because if we need to just move the engines out and have the meeting inside if it's a public meeting that we have there. So that one is on hold too. The development of the website, that's on hold. Item number 15, install, repair outside motion light. That's all been done. And go to item 25, which we'll go to later. That one will be closed out next report. Item number 16, obtain the contract. Joan, where are you on that one? Item 16. Joe?
I haven't made any further progress. The bookkeeper has sent me
Okay,
a draft, and I had several things that I would request to look at, and I haven't done anything.
yeah, I know you've had a lot to do, and we'll just put it in process. Item number 18, that one is done, complete. Item number 22, that and it's on in process. Item number 23, I don't know where Scott stands on that. So, do you have any comment on that? That's in the same category as COVID hold up, Brian?
Yes, until we get the addresses as well. So,
Okay, that's good, and you'll have the addresses, and that'll work out just great. Item number 24, that too is in the COVID area too, isn't it, Brian?
well, we had some mini drills, didn't we, Eric? Didn't they do one up there? So we'll do a larger scale one, but we did do a mini drill and test everything at about a month or two ago.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay. Item number 25, and the new phone number is established, and I got a status on that one from there. And then I added an item, and I need the board to address this, is designate a coordinator to obtain an estimate for a smoke fire detector call-out system from IES. That's Industrial Electronic System. They're the folks who Brian engaged to repair the video system that we have up there. I will serve in that capacity if you tell me. We just need to get an estimate, and what I was thinking of is that we would install 2 smoke detectors, and with a monitor there at the station, and a remote monitor at OFD, at the Oak Ridge station, so that if you get an alarm, you could dial in quickly and find out which smoke detector has alarm. Any comments on that? I volunteered for a job, so if you want me to do it, or Brian could do it, either way, but I tried to avoid asking anyone else in the department to do it. They're so busy right now. It's just getting an estimate. Hello? Herb, you got a comment?
I'm sorry, John.
Item number 25.
So were you volunteering to be the board of director designated coordinator?
As a coordinator, just to get them there and involve anyone Brian would like to do it, or involve Brian if he'd like to join us, and talk about a system, and it would be design and install type contract. And I think it'd be a good idea. We already discussed that aspect of it, but I'll be willing to do it.
Great, thank you.
I make a motion, we put John in charge.
Oh, you don't go that far. I might take advantage of it.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. I'll accept the position, so I don't think we need to vote on that. Item 26, we've got a lot of things on that. Brian has conveyed to, see if I'm saying this right, Brian, you've conveyed to the student leader what our concerns were and conveyed most of this information. And so I think we're probably okay on that. You haven't heard back from him, and I understand he's going to write a general evacuation plan for rural areas. Boy, that's a big task, don't you think?
Yes, and I think when this team that the county has hired or commissioned to do this, I'm thinking that we'll probably get a draft of the plan for the county and a chance to comment. So we'll go from there when we get that.
Okay, fine. No forecast of the date that they're going to do that, are they?
No.
All right. And item number 27 is the replacement rescue vehicle, and that too is a COVID-affected item. But I share that concern with the department about having to expedite getting that, and if you don't get the granted thing, FEMA's been pretty good about that, though. They might come around and say, sure. What do you think, Brian? You think you're going to get a FEMA grant on that, or it's hard to tell? What?
No, not in the short term. We submitted a grant just recently, and it was for extraction tools for the rescue truck that were broken, and what was the other? And some turnouts and some other gear. So this will make the rescue vehicle more capable, but not the replacement. So we'll just keep our eyes to the or ear to the ground for a nice rescue vehicle that might come available, a used one.
Okay. Well, I sure would like to. The board has already de facto helped on the funding of it. So if FEMA doesn't come through, and it'll take them some time, we'll see how it goes. Okay, that can
Thank you, John. Good walk through.
one other thing, and I'll be quiet for the rest of the meeting. I promise you. All right.
Yeah, nobody's taking that bet.
I would think that, and I want to throw this out for a comment. We need a bulletin board at the station so that we could put, for example, in that bulletin board, something like grades, but not where you can open it up at free will and put any kind of notice you want, but just a nice locked up view like you got at the and on that, and of course, hopefully, the newspaper that Doug Bates is working on, the Highway 58 Herald, should cover all our people if they take the paper. But sometimes that doesn't happen. But that's another way of communicating with our people. I say our people, Hazelville folks. And so what I would like to propose is to get an estimate for a decent board that's got a light on it and with a plastic cover, so that plastic door or something that's you can't easily move, and they have to be locked when we put a notice in there. And eventually, I think our constituents would read that passing through and then get them familiar with the station and everything we're doing.
John,
Comment.
John,
Yes.
where would it be?
Huh?
Where would you like it to be?
Uh,
To
I
Hastings?
yeah, and we could do something. You know these little library things that they stick around in neighborhoods. We could do a small one for your folks, and another. So anyway, uh, I'm going to put it on the list so we can track it and see how that develops. But I think I don't know how much anything like that would cost, but we need somebody who can do things like
I can't hear what you're saying, John.
build one.
We can't
Does that answer your question, Pam?
Yes.
we can't hear anything.
What'd you say, Joe?
We can't hear anything.
Let me kind of restate. So what he's proposing is that you get a enclosed bulletin board that can be posted outside the station up on Dead Mountain Road. So your district citizens can come by and read news about the fire district
That's right. Thank you, Brian.
On the road.
or somewhere on the property of the fire station.
Can't hear Joe.
Howard had proposed having a landscape, like a sign that what the station was, because there's no visual to even know what facility it is. So it could be incorporated into
Right.
larger. So signs actually that. So maybe we could think about it.
That didn't come too clear to me. How about you, Herb?
So John, how do you hear this?
No. Okay. Please.
So I have a suggestion. If you turn off your video, sometimes the audio becomes clearer because you're using less bandwidth.
Okay.
So if you turn your video off, you might be able to hear more clearly.
All right. Let's do that.
So what John had mentioned is that Chrissy Holiday had offered or had the idea that you could put a sign that labels the fire station with some landscaping, and we can incorporate your bulletin board idea into that landscaping.
That would be good too.
Could be a little pricier, something to think about for next year.
Might be able to get some volunteers to help the landscaping part of it.
Good. Well, I'll add it to the action list, and if any of the board members can find someone who would like to do that, we'll buy the materials and be a volunteer effort if we can do that. I'll go out in the district and try to find that somebody from Hazelville. That concludes my remarks, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So we're ready to move on to the audit report. Joan?
Okay, I distributed them all. Pam didn't take hers, rate.
Here, go outside.
Okay, so everybody Back when I reviewed the draft and gave my comments back, I was really up to speed on what was in it, and now I've kind of lost that, so I'm not as just, be able to speak to it as well. But it's done, and we did we came out with excellent report, no problems. Accountant's conclusion, everything is fine. So there's a lot in it.
From personal experience on the other half of my job, I found that if there is a problem, they're very quick to point it out and make it a significant problem. And then you have to provide a course of action and a remedy for that problem. So to the fact that your auditor didn't find anything, I think speaks to the financial health of the district budget.
Right, each of the board members has a copy of the report. And I think as you've implied, Brian, the review says that we are in compliance with the standard practices of accounting. And they go out of their way to make it clear that this is not an audit, but a review, that we're using the appropriate system. And I thought they were very complimentary of what we've been doing. And, it was a kind of a reassuring report. And the other item I found really useful, the first 2 or 3 or 4 pages of explaining our money and where it is and how it's moved about, I thought was really clear and helpful. And I found it to be a very And Joan, I don't know what you'd prepared talking about, but our communication is so poor on this that I have a really difficult time hearing what you're saying. And that we have a copy of it and an ongoing opportunity to review it. There were no, as far as I could tell, red flags. I think we're in good shape. So maybe that could be enough.
That's fine with me.
Fine with you. Okay. So let's move on to the budget process.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, how do you hear? You guys, can you hear me? Let's try it. How do you hear?
Nobody's talking.
Pam, can you hear me? All right, we're back. How do you hear me?
I hear you well.
Okay, let me pull up the budget calendar again.
Yep.
How about now? Can you hear me, Pam?
And as Pam mentioned, John is, he's muted. His
Hey, you're
Pam, can you hear me?
yes, I can.
And Herb?
Yes, I hear you clearly.
I turned my video off, so maybe that's better. So Joan kind of prompted me to get going on this budget process so we're not in any rush when the time comes. So what I've done is put together a package that gives you the proposed budget calendar, and also the ability to appoint a budget officer. So if you remember last year, we appointed me as the budget officer, but I ended up using my finance director to put it all together because he's a lot smarter about it than I am. So what I would propose, and this is perfectly legal, is that you appoint my finance director as your budget officer. And he'll put together your LB forms, and I will bring them to you, but he's going to be the one doing the grunt work, and he can actually dial in and debrief you if needed when we get to that point.
Brian, I think that's a great idea. Is there support in the board for that? Pam,
I guess so. I
Joan,
wasn't involved last year, so
Well, I would just ask, is he doing this? How is he being compensated for this?
Well, the city has a contract with with Hazeldale, and as part of that contract, we support you in these ways.
Oh,
that's
Part of
right.
the Staff, so nothing wrong with that.
they need to know.
okay, as long as that's all right with the city.
Yep. It really, honestly, it's a very simple budget, so it doesn't, it's gonna take about half a day.
Right.
So,
Well, I'd like to weigh in on some of the numbers because I've got the experience of seeing
sure.
them, and we've had a few changes and things we missed last year. So
Well,
I'll just.
we'll do that in the budget committee process. We'll go
Okay.
through it
Right.
by detail.
In our agreement with the city, it's item number 4, budget item and expenditures, that the chief, as budget officer, will assist the district in the bookkeeping services, oversee and direct the budget process and expenditure of funds. So it's in, as Brian said, it's a service that the city or the chief provides.
Okay.
Okay, so are we okay in saying that we'd like to do this the way Brian just suggested? Hearing no objections, we'll move on.
Oh, wait. Do you have the calendar? Okay. Do you have the calendar?
Yeah, we'll just need a motion and it's right there in front of you on the screen.
Okay. I so move.
Brian, does it require us to use this item 8 on your list that we do need a formal appointment of Eric as the
Yep,
budget officer?
By Oregon state law, you have to appoint a budget officer.
Okay, and that requires, well, let's just I'd like to put that in the form of a motion that we appoint Eric Coidel, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, as our budget officer.
I make the motion. As stated.
Somebody want to so move and somebody else second that?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I guess I made the motion. So it's been moved and seconded that we appoint Eric as our budget officer. Is there discussion on the motion? Well, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Skip,
Aye.
is Skip still there?
Yeah, aye.
Joan,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye.
John? John's frozen time. He had to mute himself so he could honor his commitment to not be jabbering on. And I say aye. So the motion passes. Brian, we're back.
Okay, and here's your budget calendar. This is all tentative, notional, however you want to say it, but my thought was that that really when you start to get intimately involved with it is on April 29th. We'll bring to you all the LB forms. We'll call it a budget committee, and you'll get together and we'll go through line by line of all the schedules. And that way you can give us feedback, make changes. and then bring it back the next scheduled meeting for the public hearing and the adoption. Again, we can change that as you want, but that's the thought.
That looks good to me.
My problem is that I don't think we have an active budget committee.
Well, here's what I'll say. The budget committee technically is the governing body plus an equal number of members.
Right.
It doesn't have to be any citizen members, but it's helpful if there is, but I don't know, how do we get them?
We have membership on that, don't we, Joan? Already.
Hardly anybody came last time.
One, didn't we? I think we had one person.
All of you for one meeting. I don't think anybody was there at the final. Bob Wilson, there, I don't think. Loco, Gary Stevenson, Gary Rumors. So,
Excuse- Brian, could you relay the message for us? I can hear that Joan is talking, but I have absolutely no comprehension of what she's saying.
Okay, so there is a citizen member budget committee that's in writing here. Not up to date. This is from a couple years back, and a couple of them have moved or are not doing it anymore. So Gary Stevenson, Gene Wilkos, Bob Wilson, Harry Rumor, and Paula Abert. So that's the kind of from 2 years ago. It's a 3-year appointed term, and it doesn't really, let's see. So some of these guys have already timed out on the budget committee. So essentially, the only two left that are still current would be Paula Abert and Gary Stevenson.
Did you say he moved?
Gary moved to Medford.
So Gary has moved according to Skip.
Her last name is, and Paula's last name is Hebert.
Ebert.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Cajun version is Aber, though.
That's right. That's right. So really the only person remaining on the budget committee for citizen membership is Paula. So I guess if we're going to go out and recruit, we should. Otherwise, you can function as the budget committee as you are. So it's.
Does anyone know someone they would like to recruit? And
I
then
do.
we have to appoint them by the board has to appoint them. So we can't do it today until we have more people.
Right.
So
You could have March. You'd have to have them out here queued up by March to vote more members in so they could participate in April.
okay.
Yeah.
You know somebody? Okay, great.
All right. So go out and get some people. We need 4 slots, 4 people.
If we can, okay.
So I'll leave it there with the budget calendar. I didn't hear anybody opposed, so we'll keep it there for now. Again, it's always able to be adjusted.
Great. Brian, did you send out this stuff to us on the email?
I did.
Yeah,
It was a link to the city, to the website where it's posted, but would you like me to go over the IGA?
Yes.
Okay, so actually Joan found a more current one, which I found the signed version of it. So we've got that. But as she stated, there is no really requirement to renew it unless you have problems with the content in it. Because in the IGA itself, it says the annual amount for that support that we provide, the city provides, will increase no more than the assessed valuation of the previous, between the 2 years, the current year and the previous year. We did the math on it, and the assessed evaluation of the properties within the district increased 4.47% over the last year.
So are we constrained to the 3%
Say that one more time.
as affects our taxing?
So
Do we not have a limit of 3% increase that we can tax against?
you have a limit of 3% that your taxes can go up. But
Right.
but the IGA itself doesn't talk about taxes. It talks about assessed value of property.
Okay.
So two different things. But what I really wanted to do was give the board this document to review over the next month,
Okay.
and then come back next meeting and make either recommendations or adopt the new contract price.
Okay. Right. I think our intent has been that we were at 3%, but I will certainly follow up on the discussion and understand and appreciate that you guys, we are all in a financial bind and we want to pay our fair share. All right. Let's move on to the fire chief's report.
I passed out the activity reports that Eric puts out. I guess the one comment that he had recently is the lack of transports. But it gives you a good idea of how much has been going on in your district. Any questions on the activity reports? Okay, nothing heard. We'll move on to equipment status.